with you tonight on In Focus. And let's go back to one of our leading stories, which, of course, Floyd Shivambu being appointed the MK Party Secretary General. It follows the resignation of Dr. Sfiso Masego, who the party says will resume his duties as Chief Director of the Gauteng Health Department. Shivambu's appointment comes on the same week that Advocate Dalim Mpofu left the EFF to join the MK Party. We are now joined by Mr. Sandile Swana. Why do I call you a doctor? I keep on wanting to call you a doctor every time I speak to you on these political developments. Maybe that PhD is coming. Dr. Swana, good evening.
Good evening, Bamjoli. Thank you.
Let's talk about this particular development. I mean, the assertion that people are leaving to want to go and associate with former President Jacob Zuma because he is the only face and the only hope for a success of an anti-colonial agenda that will happen under his leadership. How do you analyze that view?
You will remember that Jacob Zuma took over the African National Congress in 2007 when, as president, when it had about 70%, 69.69% of the vote in South Africa, more than two-thirds majority, 70%. He took over the ANC and eventually took over state power. After he took over state power in South Africa, the indicators of racial inequality in South Africa and the deprivation and wretchedness of the black majority actually worsened in terms of unemployment, in terms of poverty, in terms of inequality in South Africa, and the worsening GDP growth rates in South Africa. So there is no record, after Zuma has already been in government, and throughout his stay in government, the ANC had an overwhelming majority of power, and Zuma was simply ineffective in decolonizing South Africa. So there has to be a measure of dishonesty and carelessness in saying that Zuma is the only person that can actually help to liberate Africans and decolonize South Africa. He has made our conditions, living conditions, worse, and Cyril simply deepened the bad situation that Zuma had already started and created.
So those who are saying we were misled about former President Jacob Zuma, the system, the media, even the former public protector, Thuli Madonsela, all these were people that were used to paint this man who is all about liberating the black child, black.
Yes. When we talk about the living conditions, even under apartheid, we're not talking about things that we're imagining in our heads. When you want to talk about the living conditions of black people in South Africa, you go and get data from Stats SA, you get data from the Human Sciences Research Council, you get whatever data you can from the Auditor General, from the South African Reserve Bank, as well as the top universities in South Africa. CSIR and so on, Agricultural Research Council. What political parties say is irrelevant to that discussion. It's totally irrelevant. You can actually form a full scientific opinion without talking to any political party about the living conditions of black people in South Africa. So there is no thing that any politician can, with any measure of respectability and honesty, say that they were misled about Jacob Zuma, because all the properly accredited research institutions in South Africa, you can even go to the World Bank. The World Bank says South Africa is now #1 in inequality in the world. And apartheid is a form of inequality. Settler colonialism is a form of inequality. But all of those indicators have actually worsened under the rule of the ANC. And in fact, Zuma reversed the benefits that had been gained under Thabo Mbeki and Mandela. So it's a mistake. Floyd is mistaken. And whoever else is saying that they were misled, there was no misleading of nothing. They are the ones who are mistaken right now.
So there's a theory of ANC breakaway parties that seem to decline after a couple of cycles of the voting process. Maybe COPE being one that you quickly immediately pick up, but others would have suspected that EFF was going to go the same route, but it's still around. We managed to retain some of its percentage. But is this a sign of that breakaway party also now beginning its decline? And therefore, what does that say about the MK party itself as a breakaway from the ANC? Is it also going to enjoy a couple of cycles but also begin its route towards deterioration?
The people who have joined MK are the ones who were disgruntled in the ANC but did not see the EFF as an attractive option for them, because the EFF in their minds does not have some of the things that they like in the ANC. So that's why they never left the ANC. That's why some of the ANC people will say the EFF cannot grow because it cannot pull away support from the ANC. On the other hand, MK has got all the features of those things that ANC people like. There's a gravy there that you get when those are the things that they like. They are there in MK. You'll get them there. So, and the EFF and Julius Malema and his executive, as well as the other leaders, would have made a mistake to think that it is their job to recruit and to accommodate ANC people and Zuma people, because those people are who they are. And when they come to where you are, if you don't give them what they are used to, they are going to cause problems. They want to change this. Any organization they join, they want it to be an ANC-type organization with the gravy and other things that go with it. So that is the problem. Yeah. That is the problem. Yeah. So MK is just a splitting, literally a splitting. It is growing. People say it has grown fast, but if you look at it, it is just stripping parts, building blocks, physical building blocks directly from the ANC. It is stripping.
Now, how does that, I suppose, complicate the job of the incoming Secretary General, Floyd Shivambu, where he's in this organization where others are saying people who are here for nothing more than their own narrow personal vendettas and personal gratification, as you put it, the gravy. But inherently, this is a party that is being used as a weapon, ANC members against the ANC, but now it also seems EFF members who are coming there against the leader of the EFF in particular.
It was a mistake for Julius, to the extent that if you read the documents of the EFF, they state clearly that the EFF is a post-colonial liberation movement, if you like. And in Africa, as you can see already in Botswana, where you reach a stage where you've got to kick out the liberation movement and start new politics, which is the struggle that you have now presently as we speak in Mozambique. A similar struggle in Zimbabwe, similar struggle probably is about to erupt in Namibia. So EFF is one of the parties, probably the first, to notice that you've got to get rid of the liberation movement in South Africa, specifically the ANC, and start post-colonial politics. But what Malema and company did not realize is that you should not take those people who are loyal, who have dreams. Some of these people have dreams. They want to be buried in a coffin that is draped in ANC colors. And that idea cannot come out of their minds, which is why they will leave the EFF and go and join MK. And they say MK is actually not just about the people of South Africa. It is about a renewal program of the ANC, recovering the ANC from the faction of Ramaphosa and recreating the ANC of Luthuli and Tambo. But when you look at their criminal record and suspicions and everything else, on both sides, whether you are looking at the Nkandla lot on the one side or the Phalaphala lot on the other side, it is clear that we are dealing here with groups of people who are implicated in things that we cannot redeem them from.
How does this then play out in the EFF itself? I mean, they are now heading to their elective conference, and there is a sense that the bunch that is left is going to represent new alliances, if you like, pretty much like the Government of National Unity has redefined what alliances are in the ANC and its alliance partners.
Yeah, I think that we also have to, there are two things that I will say about this. The first one is that this is the EFF, I think they formally launched themselves 13th of July, 2013. I think it was something like that. So this is their third Congress, elective Congress, if you like, in that short space of time. So they have had opportunities of renewing leaders. But what is also interesting, when I read some of their documents, and I recommend that these documents be read, the 257 pages of their conference documents, is how they measure their success. And when you look at them from